Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Rebel REL Week 5 recap video for Divisions 4 and 5. I am joined today by Trunkhead, who is typically hosting these videos, but we switched it up this week and it's going to be on my channel. Welcome, Trunkhead.
Hey, how you guys doing?
And we are going to go ahead and get things started by jumping into Division 5. Let me pull this up here. And taking a look at day 5. So we'll go through the results and recap to start. Cash Crew Part Due lost 1-2 to How Now Brown Drow.
And Dark Elves, that's actually a good matchup for humans, I feel like. So that's kind of a tough loss. Everything that Dark Elves count on, I feel like humans counter pretty well because they're so fast. But I don't know if Cash Crew has enough catchers to really take advantage of that. But he got MVP on his blitz on his strength blitzer though.
Yeah, it looks strange to me. He got a lot of good blocks. I guess equal number of blocks between the two, 33 and 32. Plenty of removals though. I mean, 5 knockouts and 2 injuries. That's decent. And he had ball possession for 50% of the match. So I'm curious how the Dark Elves were just able to get away with it, or maybe it's just the 2-1 grind.
Dark Elves are notorious for being able. They're really good at defense. So if he can get in there and steal the ball and score real fast, it doesn't surprise me that the humans possess the ball more. Because the Dark Elves, they thrive on that quick turnover, that lightning fast change of possession and score.
I do like the strength blitzer getting Frenzy. Frenzy is on a strength 4 piece is great, especially on teams that don't have a lot of natural strength.
Yeah, the frenzy. I was thinking about making a frenzy human blitzer, which I have literally never done. Um, so I think this is interesting. I mean, with strength, I'm out on Mighty Blow personally, but I can see how this will be a useful piece now. The other thing you could do is could have given him sure hands and made him a fucking hell of a ball carrier.
Yeah, that's always fun. 4 strength ball carriers are very strong, as I know firsthand. Moving on to the next match, the secret of my success. That was week 6. Pandemonium Burgers versus Necromantic Newbies. I'm going to be playing a little bit of a quick version of this at the end of this video, but we'll go quickly look at the stats here. One-sided on the armor breaks in favor of the Necromantic team. 3-0 with only 6% of the ball possession going to the Chaos, so they just could not keep their hands on the ball, despite out-blocking the Necromantic Newbies. But there was a lot of pushes against Stand Firm. That doesn't really work out in your favor. And some dice went one way and not the other, as we'll see when they do that recap.
Yeah, man. It looks like Claw did a thing.
Claw
Did a little bit of a thing.
Claw did a couple things, but most of the removals actually weren't for the werewolves. So
But that's good for Necromantic Newbies, man. They needed a game like that.
they did.
They needed something.
And
MVP on zombies sucks.
yeah,
At first.
never can control those. Moving on to the Drackle Day Laborers versus Templars of Aurora. That's a 2-2 draw. And the Day Laborers got the MVP on Zug, which is never fun, but you live with it.
Yeah, early in team developments, when you get MVP on star players you don't get to keep, that really hurts because now you're behind 5 SPP.
And the MVP for the High Elves actually got an Agility Plus, and that's on a catcher. So that's a future MVP All-Star in the making. Already having dodge on him. You still want to feed him the ball to get blocked because blodge catchers are really essential to your team. But with that Agility Plus, you can get leap, or you can even do wrestle and make him just the ultimate ball hawk. But yeah, that's going to be a great piece.
Yeah, yeah, I would feed him touchdowns until he got to either block or wrestle, whichever you decided. I wouldn't mess around with anything else. Like he's such a good piece. Move 8, agility 5 with dodge. He's so important that I would get him that next skill. Every touchdown would go to him if it was me.
And something that's always cool, this is a high elf coach that scores fast. 6% ball possession, even though it was a 2-2 draw. He only threw 25 blocks, only knocked out one person, no other removals. So even without removing pieces, he's putting up great defense and getting really fast scores. So it's too bad he couldn't get the win out, but I'm sure that he made the Jackal Day Laborers earn it.
But Hipster's a fun coach to watch, man. If he wasn't playing a team with those stupid hats, I'd watch him more often.
And then Dimension C137 got the bye this week. They got some lovely skill ups, as we saw at the start of the video there. And then Skinky Island Boys also got a bye. So they continue to develop and are on top there. Havoc's Henchmen, I believe this is also a bye. The Havoc's Henchmen dropped out, so the Three Mountains got the bye there. So we've got 3 bye weeks in this division going forward, or 3 bye teams, I should say, each week. So
Oh, Havoc's Henchman dropped out, huh? That's no good.
yeah, it's a little disappointing. Real life stuff popped up, I think, that he just wasn't expected for, so we hope to get him back next season. But for the other coaches, you're going to have an influx of cash when you get your bye weeks.
Yeah,
And the last real match of the week was Nurgle FTD versus The Secret of My Success, and the Orcs took this one.
Yeah, I mean, orc teams are just. I mean, you play orcs because you're a terrible human being. Orcs are not fun. They're not fun to play against, man. And when their armor's holding up, you can't beat them, man. They just pound on you. I just watched the Horny Cricket versus Ducky match, the CCL quarterfinals, and his orcs were just they're unstoppable. You couldn't remove them, and they were just pounding you back. So Nurgle and these are probably 2 teams that just sat there and beating each other, like 11 armor breaks on each side.
I do want to point out that Black Orc level. That's huge for as early as this team is in development. This is now a level 3 Black Orc with Block and Mighty Blow, so he's going to continue to grow towards that holy trinity of Block, Mighty Blow, and Guard. And then the Nurgle Warrior also got an MVP, so even though he lost the game, that's some decent growth for the Nurgle team to get that block that he very much badly needs.
Once Nurgle starts getting that block, things make a huge difference. Once they can rely on these Nurgle Warriors and they don't need to use rerolls on blocks, then they really start to take off. So I would say that those block on Nurgle Warriors is the most important piece on the whole team. So good for him to get that out of the way.
Absolutely. And let's change gears and take a look over at the leaderboard, where the Three Mountains and Skinky Island Boys both together are on the top. What's funny is the leaderboard update, because it basically records the results when the match is over, have them both identical in TV as well. So they're 4-1 and 0 with 1400 TV. Right behind them is How Now Brown Drow with 1410 TV. 3 wins, 2 draws. So they still haven't lost yet. So they're really just on the heels for either of these teams to slip up. And then we've got the Undead Dimension C137 in 4th place. And then behind them is a couple teams that are all very, very close. Templars of Aurora and Cash Crew Part 2 are actually tied in points with 3 draws for one and 3 wins for the other. And then just behind them, the Secret of My Success, Pandemonium Burgers, Necromantic Newbies, all those teams are still in it. The Havoc's Henchmen are kind of bringing up the rear of the teams that are still in this, but it's still possible for them to come back and take a playoff spot if the top ends up getting shaken out.
But didn't you just say that they're out? They gave up, so their Track World Day Laborers are next, right? Because Havoc's Henchmen.
Right. Yep.
So the humans need to catch up. But check out Hipster, man. 1660 TV. It's fucking high elf.
That's the high elf bloat. That is an effective strategy, especially in a league like this where you've got a fixed amount of games. You want to try and bloat up as much as you can. And I believe he's just buying pieces too. So we'll have to take a look at them in the coming weeks.
So we try to cover every team at least once, and we've almost covered everybody at one point right now. So we're coming up on the turn. This is next 6's week. We'll do a mid-season review. I don't know. When do you want to do it, man? You want to do it after week 6 or after week 7, somewhere around there?
I'm fine doing it after next week because we're going to have a couple big matches coming up here, and I think that's a good point for us to check in with everybody, and then we can kind of re-go over the teams going forward. So that sounds good to me.
Yeah, man. I want to do an hour on each division. So we'll do like two separate episodes: a Division 5 recap and a Division 4 mid-season recap. So they're
Yeah,
kind of separate, and you guys can look at them that way.
yeah, we should actually even maybe break those up a week. So next week we do 5, and then the week after 4 or something like that. We can figure it out.
That's brilliant. That's brilliant. All right, what do we got coming up next, man?
So you're gonna do a team review of the Three Mountains, the dwarf team that's on the top.
Yeah, KS Sublu. I mean, he's on top of the division. Very active on Discord. You can always get a hold of him and get his opinion. He actually helps out in the rookie league a lot, which I like. Encourages new people. I mean, dwarf teams aren't very exciting when it comes to building them. If you see his Longbeard's guard, 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 guard. I love the grab piece. I think grab is a super underrated skill. And I find uses for it all the time. Every time I get it. But I like the guard first. Are you a guard first guy, or are you? I mean, you're kind of a dwarf coach too from time to time. You like guard first? You like mighty blow first?
I do dabble in dwarf, and I absolutely love guard. I undervalued it. A lot of people think it's boring, and frankly, winning is never boring to me. And guard makes you win when you're on a bash team, and they just don't have the strength. Dwarves need guard because otherwise, any other bash team from Nurgle to Chaos to Orcs are just gonna use their strength 4 pieces to plow right over you.
I think 3 bash teams need to have heavy guard. That's just the way they go. And then he got. I want to talk about Saint Helen, the mighty blow piling on troll slayer. I have been on record as saying I hate piling on troll slayers. And my reasoning for that is if I'm gonna get piling on, I'd rather have it on a blitzer because blitzers have one more armor. Because people get piled on generally get kicked in the head. So I like to have that one extra armor. And they're also AG3, so if you get a double on a blitzer, you can get jump up, and your jump up's on a 2+. Whereas if you get jump up on a troll slayer, it's a 3+. So I am not a fan of piling on troll slayers, even though it's a popular pick. I don't know what you're a scum of the earth dwarf and orc coach, so tell me what you think about that.
I actually didn't agree with you before, and now that you've made your case, I actually agree with you. I think the blitzer is probably a better, well-rounded pick for that. Although I tend to use my blitzers as more ball handling specialist. I'll do the wrestler runner for a safety, and then the blitzers are more of my handoff threats or scoring threats. But having one of those as a killer piece actually probably makes a lot more sense for the reasons you mentioned. The 2 agility goes a long way, and 8 armor as well. So, yeah, I think you've converted me on that one. I'm gonna have to try that next time.
I know things, man. He's got a move 7 blodge runner, which is bullshit. He should just fire it because that shouldn't be allowed.
Yeah, it kind of negates one of the biggest negatives that dwarves have, which is scoring threat and being able to hit the ball carriers. So that's going to be a valuable piece for sure.
I'm actually surprised at how often I see move 7 blodge runners on dwarf teams. I feel like every team I place, maybe it's just I'm super lucky. I feel like every dwarf team I face has one, and I always try to kill him. The only downside to the blodge piece is that's his only tackle piece, or his only dodge piece. So that the other opposing team's tackle only has to focus on one guy.
Correct. Yeah.
But he's got to get through him too. He's got to get to him first. So.
Yeah, and with that grab, I feel like Keosabulu should be playing a sideline the entire game and just grabbing and frenzying and trying to surf as many players as he can. And if he's not going to go for the death roll or whatever the stupid tank thing is, then
I love the death roller. It's fucking great.
Yeah, I got to play one in 2 weeks. I'll tell you how I feel about it after that match. But
I just played one.
Did you? I've played like 3 in my entire time in Blood Bowl, and Owned is a coach that I have to play with one, and he's no joke without it. So he's actually my only loss in the REL.
Yeah, Own's my guy. Like I talked to Owned a lot, and he and I discussed I actually converted him into the death roller. He's like, I don't like death rollers; they're a stupid pick, and I'm like, oh yeah. And I talked him into it last season, and now he loves it.
Yeah, I don't even know what I'm going to do against it, honestly. I'm banking a wizard all next week until I play him, just to either zap it or something.
So I played Road Dog in Division 1, Refrigerator Raiders. He's his dwarf team, and he had a death roller, and I want to say he had 2 bribes, and that death roller was on the pitch for the entire game. And I think I finished the game. This is not a joke. I finished the game with 3 people on the pitch.
Yeah, it can do that. It absolutely can.
He probably. I don't see KSU getting a death roller. I just don't
Not
see
this
him as being
season.
that kind of
I think
coach.
it takes usually at least one season for you to really get the development before you do that, because it's bloaty.
One last thing I want to touch on KSU Blues squad. He's got all this guard, which I love. I think this is a great move. Do you go Mighty Blow next, or do you go Stand Firm next?
Good question. I know your answer is going to be Mighty Blow because you want to see that growth, but I would say you need at least 3 stand firm pieces, if only to negate the 1 turn. After you get your 3 stand firm, then go for your extra Mighty Blow. And that guard guy, of course, or the grab guy, he could do some. Well, no, you can't. I would still probably go guard with him next then. But yeah, the guard stand firm and then Mighty Blow.
I mean, if you go guard stand firm, it's going to be a long time before you get to Mighty Blow.
You only
That's all
need
I'm
3 of
saying.
them. I mean, they're your linemen. You don't need them to get too much stuff. But yeah, I know your logic behind that.
Well, I mean, I actually played a fair amount of Dwarf when I first started playing the game, and I think guard is awesome. I went guard Mighty Blow stand firm and loved it because I just killed everybody. But because I feel like once you have guard and then Mighty Blow, you own the line, and once you own the line and start removing line pieces, then you start getting the juicy positionals. I get the stand firm. If I get stand firm, then you can't 1-turn me. And that's a legitimate concern for dwarfs because they can't afford to be 1-turned because they can't respond fast enough. So
Yeah.
I get that, but I think 1 or 2 of those guys needs to go. I would mix it in. I'd probably do 1 stand firm, 1 mighty blow, and mix them back and forth until I had them all done. But the grab guy would definitely get guard.
Yeah.
Definitely get guard because it makes moving people around easier.
Sounds good. And then for my team review, we'll go ahead and switch over to the secret of my success, the Orc team. And they are coached
I like this
by
coach, man. He's
Rusty Seabutter.
Rusty Seabutter. Yeah, man. He's on Discord a lot. He asks smart questions. I haven't seen him play at all, but I listen to him on Discord, man. So.
Right off the bat, he's got his 4 Black Orcs, he's got his 4 Blitzers, he's got a Troll, he's got a Goblin, and he's got a Thrower. This is exactly how I started my Brazzers team. The Goblin will hang around until he's too bloaty, and then you drop him for an extra lineman. The Black Orc that's got a Niggle, that sucks because he's got block. The worst thing that can happen is that he can get more SPP because eventually you are going to sack him. Even with armor value 9, a Nickeled Black Orc is a liability that you don't need to bear. The Mighty Blow one that just got Mighty Blow, that's a good piece. Of course, you're going to get guard after that. Don't make your Black Orcs into killers. They're just not very mobile, and really their job is to take up space. What are your thoughts about the Nickeled Black Orc?
So I'm playing orcs I play Xbox, 1 game of Xbox a night, and I'm playing orcs, and I had a nickel black orc, and I'm like, I am not even concerned about this nickel even a little bit. He was my best black orc, and then the very next game he got killed. He got gang fouled and died.
It's a bullseye that your black orcs shouldn't have. Your black orcs are supposed to be things that they avoid, and if they do start removing them and taking them down, it really weakens your team a lot.
Yeah, but he's got 13 SPP, man. I probably play him until he dies. I mean, he's got these 2 other guys that are only 1 SPP away. You could get one if they both got block. I would go ahead and drop him and then pick up a new one because then I'd have 3 block black orcs.
Yeah. Well, and if you're gonna play him till he dies, just throw guard on him. Don't worry about developing any extra further. But to me, it's a liability. The game that he gets knocked out and fouled turn 1 is the game that he loses you. But until that game happens, he's going to still do his job relatively fine.
Well, here's one more consideration you could think about. He's got that troll, and since he has a troll, he can afford a rookie black orc because he's holding that line with that troll.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and cash is never really a problem for orc coaches. He could fire the goblin right now and get another black orc and be at 12 pieces and be efficient on TV. So cash, because your armor value is so high on almost all your pieces, minus your goblin and your thrower. You rarely see an orc coach have to just rebuild from scratch. It's usually one death somewhere out of the blue, or a couple injuries, but cash you're going to have handy, so you can definitely afford to replace your players when they get weakened like this. And the only reason you wouldn't want to fire them now is just because you want that block.
Well, it's not like they're expensive either. I mean, a
Mm-hmm.
Black Orc's only 80,000.
Yeah,
That's only 10,000 more than a human blitzer. Like that's fucking crazy.
yeah, it's very very cost efficient. The rest of his team, he's got 2 Blodge Blitzers, which is so nice. And they're early doubles, so there's always the chance that he can get a second double for diving tackle, go for that Wolf Rider build, which is heaven with stand firm and tackle. And then he's got an agility 4 on one of those blodges too, so that could be a potential ball carrier to get rid of your thrower if you just want to have an AV9 team. A lot of orc coaches like that. I personally like the thrower. I think there's value in that piece, and you're able to protect him easy enough with a good cage. If you can get a double, you can give him dodge like I did, or you can go guard and just have even more, guard stack pieces.
So for me, for the thrower, I don't run a thrower on my orc teams, but if I had one, I usually, when I do have one, I go block and then I go like kick return and that sort of situation.
Mm-hmm.
In this particular situation where he has an AG4 Blodge Blitzer, I'm gonna start building that thrower as a thrower, and my very next skill is gonna be accurate because I now have a dynamic offense because I can throw it to Solo Fexer and he's gonna reliably catch the ball. So I feel like now you add a dimension to an orc offense that they don't usually have, where you can throw short to medium range passes that you can't do usually. So I would give him accurate on his next throw, and then I would just throw this fucking Solo Fexer guy all day long.
Yeah, it's very useful to be able to score in 2 turns. Not a lot of orc teams can do that reliably, and with the Agi 4 piece, you've got that threat.
Yeah, I played a Papa Nasty, I want to say 2 seasons ago in the CCL, and he had, maybe it was 3 seasons ago, he had 2 AG4 orcs, and I couldn't fucking stop him. Like, I was dominating the games, but he would just 2-turn touchdown me all day long, and I ended up losing the game because he would just throw those AG4 orcs, and I was like, this is fucking ridiculous. I don't even know
Yeah.
what's happening.
Last season, I had an Agi 5 blitzer, and that was interesting and fun while it lasted.
Well, I'm glad he's dead, especially if
Yeah.
you end up in my division next season.
Yes. And then, the Goblin, we've talked about ad nauseum. We won't talk about him anymore. But he needs some guard on this team, and he, of course, needs my favorite skill, tackle. He probably should get that on the Mighty Blow piece next, not piling on, but we'll see what he does that. The Mighty Blow Blitzer I'm talking about.
Yeah, I always go my.
Oh, you cut out there. But you still there? Well, the point I know that you were going to make is you like your Mighty Blow before tackle, and then once your tackle comes back in, then you can consider piling on after that. And that's a very strong way to build your killers out, and you get a lot of reliability for it. Oh, there you are. You're back.
Yeah, I'm having some connection issues today. Sorry about that.
Oh, no worries. But you were going to say Mighty Blow before tackle, right?
No, for BC Fleet,
I'm thinking blind camping.
blind camping, he needs tackle
Yep,
before
yep,
piling
yep.
on.
Exactly.
Just lots of people go piling on first. I always go tackle first.
Perfect. We're on the same page there. All right, that's enough for the secret of my success. Let's take a quick peek at next week's schedule and your highlight game.
Next week's schedule. Yeah. So I was gonna look at the Havoc's henchmen, but apparently they are gone. So I'm gonna change it to our fucking stupid awesome squad versus the chaos, the Pandemonium Burgers.
Oh yes, Templars of Aurora and Pandemonium Burgers. Yeah, that should be a good game. Pandemonium Burgers are coming off a rough loss, but Chaos can always muscle teams, especially high elf teams.
Well, here's the thing: Pandemonium Burgers, they're gonna get what 500 inducements in that game.
Jeez. Yeah, that is a lot.
He's got to spend 80,000 on a loner. So he's going to be at 1220. So he's going to have 440 in inducements. Dude, he can get the bowl. He can get Borak, the Destroyer, who is Strength 5, Mighty Blow, Block, and Dirty Player. And he can get bribes to protect that Dirty Player.
Yeah.
That's sick, but he doesn't have any tackle. So that makes me a little bit worried about that.
To be fair, Hipster only has 2 blodge and 1 wrestle dodge piece. He does have a lot of dodge in general, but if he can keep the ball off those blitzers, and generally you don't want to score with those blitzers anyway, he's going to be feeding these catchers. He's got 2 catchers that don't even have dodge that are super vulnerable at AV7, and I would like to see those focused first. But it's possible for him to drop 5 of these pieces, and that leaves only 8 elves. And you can always POW blodgers. I mean, a lot of chaos coaches just POW the blodger all the day.
Yeah, I think blodge is worthless. Every time I get blodge, I get POW'd. My only concern is I think that Wad Dave's tactic here is going to be knock a guy down and then blitz and then step on him. But there's 13 high elves on the squad.
Takes a lot of fouls to get a 13-player squad down, but that's what we were mentioning before with that TV so high. It's because he's got extra pieces, and he's got another 100,000 in the bank. So even if you manage to remove 2 of these elves, another one's coming right back.
Yeah, dude. If I were him, I would drop one of these elves.
I think he's got too much too.
You don't need 13 players as a high elf at this low of a TV, man. I'd drop at least one of these elves, and I'd probably drop this move busted lineman with dodge. I'd get rid of him.
To be frank, he's got too many catchers to start. I'm currently, a humble brag here, the number 2 high elf in the CCL, and I only have 1 catcher, and it's because until your catchers get blodge, they're such a liability, and the whole strength of a high elf team is that AV8 compared to other elf teams. So I like to limit the amount of low AV pieces until I've really got the ones that I have safe and secure.
Well, I don't know. He likes to score fast. He's got different tactics.
True.
I think
It's very true.
So, who do you got in that game, man?
I'll take Templars over Roar because I'll play it safe.
That's what you do. You're a dirty, nasty Orc and Dwarf player, and you play it safe. I'm gonna go with the upset. I'm gonna say that he's gonna get Borak the Destroyer, and the Borak the Destroyer is going to destroy elves, and then he's gonna step on them. And that's how I feel about it, man. There's going to be some shenanigans going on in this game. Wad Dave, don't get a wizard.
Yes,
wizard
against
high elves is going to do you no good.
I agree.
So, that's where I'm going with that. What do you got?
I got the top 2 teams in the division. 3 mountains are playing Skinky Island boys, and that is going to be a match to watch. Of course, the dwarf team that we just took a look at, they've got plenty of tackle. But if we pop back over and look at the Skinky Island boys again, they are 1400. Yep, same TV as the dwarves. Although they've got some skills that they need to level up. So they are just coming off a bye week, and they've got 3 levels up. 2 of them on Saurus and 1 on the Crocs. So this lizard team is poised to, I would say, grow quite a bit, and I think they're actually going to be my pick to win this match, even though dwarves are pretty good against lizards.
Yeah, you're going to be wrong. I love the Skinky Island boys. I think they're awesome, and he's going to get guard on Duke, and there's already 5 guard on KS Ublu's team. He's going to get. I don't know what he's going to do with Nox. Probably going to be Mighty Blow or guard, and then block. But that's not going to be enough, man. He's got 2 Troll Slayers to hit to hit fucking all these Strength 4 pieces. He's got tackle for all these skinks to get through them. And Chaos Ublu's, man, I've seen him play a couple times. He's a good coach, so I'm gonna go with Chaos Ublu there.
He is a good coach. I'm trusting in Wave to spread the field, make sure that the dwarves have to throw some GFI dice in order to keep up. And if he can pull off a couple of skink handoff plays, which he's got a sprint catch sidestep skink, I think there's a chance. And blodge skinks are great too. Not that it helps with the amount of tackle they've got over there. But keep the skinks out of the Longbeard's range. There's no tackle on on the dwarf positionals, and if
I was
he does
just gonna
that,
say that.
he's got a good chance.
That's the one maybe wild card in this game is there's no tackle on the positionals, and all he's got to do is put a Saurus on a Longbeard, and those guys are stuck, and then make it a positional game.
Yep,
and then he's in trouble.
In the same way any team can beat a dwarf team is you move to one side of the pitch and they get frenzy hungry and move everything over to that side of the pitch, and you just run the other way.
Yep. Yeah, but I don't know. We'll see. There's a lot of AV7 on that AV7 stunty on that chaos. The thing about the Skink Island boys is they carry so many skinks, man. You can't just remove like.
I agree.
Usually, what I do though is when I play lizards, I just kill the skinks. But there's so many skinks that's not gonna work for you. You get your work cut out for you if you get there. So I'm gonna take the dwarfs. I think the dwarfs are like I said, he's a good coach. He knows positioning well. I think he's gonna get in there. I think he's gonna do some work.
All right, sounds good. What are you ready to jump over to Division 4?
Division 4 has had some. Then the last week was a big week for them. Big week for them. My favorite. Come on, man. Squiggy versus Kakengrad, the student and the master.
Oh yeah. 2-2 draw from Rebel Invasion versus Tybo's Happen.
Today. That game happened today, and it was. Take a look at that. Look at the stats on that one, man. 38 blocks to 21. Look at those removals for Kakengrad. 9 removals.
And only 38 blocks too. Those are some good dice. Those are
the dice I need in my clan game.
Yeah. Yeah.
Open Orc squad, but
quite the draw there. And then up next we had Horrible Cliches versus the Baywatch Knights. Another 1-1 draw.
The last little bit of that game, Herringzord actually cast a little bit of that game. That was the last couple of games were wild, and the last couple of turns were crazy, man. Horrible Cliches looked like they were going to score. Baywatch Knights turns it over with Griff, goes down the other direction. It was a crazy finish.
I think I caught part of that too. Yeah, a lot of injuries for both teams. I mean, five actual casualties is pretty solid, and it looks like there's another one just on a dodge too. So yeah, 6 total. It's a pretty bloody game for Dark Elves and Bretonnians. Up next we had the Carnival Freak Show versus Lizard Beasts. Lizard Beasts took this one 2-0, and I believe that was one of our matches that we looked at last week and we talked about.
Yeah, the Carnival Freak Show, man. They need a game where they just explode. They need some development, and then getting the MVP and the zombie for them is no help.
No, not at all. And they did at least get a couple casualties, it looks like. But probably skink removals, which is easy enough to do. But yeah, not enough yet. Not enough. And Lizard Beast doing lizard things, removing pieces.
Yeah, that team's gross. Kiwi Bird.
Yep. Unaccompanied Minnows lost 0-1 to Resistance is Futile.
Conference got an MVP, man.
Yeah. Well, we're going to take a look at them in a little bit here. And then the Chaos Dwarves still also needing some development at this point, but didn't get any SPP other than the MVP that match. So
that's brutal.
They're stalling just a tad, but they're still not out of it. KNG and Gambit's Gets has not been played. That's probably going to be an admin for KNG. Gambit's getting a little bit busy with his schedule.
Yeah, he actually had time today to play. Zagrod has been trying to reach him all week. I don't know that he could play today. So yeah, but I think Gamba's got the rest of the week available. So whoever plays him next week, you should play him early.
Get him while you can.
Oh, Squiggy. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, get him early.
They'll work it out. Communist Frat Party went 1-1 against the unlucky Skull, and I actually caught part of this game as well. Actually cast it on the weekend. And Kimry doing some interesting plays, getting some good armor breaks, but basically fouling like there's no tomorrow.
Yeah, King's gonna foul you, man. He is gonna foul you. He killed somebody.
4 expulsions. That's cutting your nose to spite your face in most cases. And I'm a part of clan foul. I would know.
Yeah, man, that's he fouls first and asks a question later. He did that as dwarfs too, but he's got a team that's really designed for it. So, and
Exactly.
his AG3 guy got blocked, so he's
Yeah.
moving.
Yeah, that's an all-star Camry piece. Any piece that gets into agility up is an all-star.
It's AV7, move 5.
Yeah. And then the last match was Iron Madden with Gengar up against Ace Trucking Company, and those Chorfs ended up winning 2-1 against Gengar, who's now sworn off ball play at all and is just going for that development in SPP.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. He got Mighty Blow on his Tomb Guardian. That's nice.
Yep, that certainly helps.
Man, the problem with his tactic is he is in a super bashy division. So
Yeah,
if you're gonna develop by bashing, you're not gonna develop very fast.
yeah, there's a lot of AV9 in this division for sure.
Yeah, he has no claw. So there's that.
Makes a big difference. So let's go ahead and hop over to the leaderboard. See where we're at with everything. So Ace Trucking Company and the Lizard Beasts, who actually play this week, are tied in first place at 3-1-1. So much closer this division is than the Division 5. And Division 5 is pretty close too. The Rebel Invasion and Typos Happen just tied. So they're 2-3-0 and 2-2-1.
Yeah, man. They're those guys, like I said, student and master there.
Yep. Baywatch Knights are still in the thick of it as well, and tied with Typos Happen for what we'll call 4th and 5th place. Communist Frat Party just behind them at 2-1-2. Horrible Cliches 1-4-0, so bending but not breaking.
Undefeated.
Yes,
Undefeated
at 1-4-0.
Dark Elves.
And Resistance is Feudal 2-0-3. And what's great about those ties is actually they are a tiebreaker factor this season. Seasons past for playoff position, tie was less valuable than wins, and now it's tie is more valuable than losses when it comes to
Losses,
the tiebreaker. Yep.
Least number of losses.
Yep. And then Unaccompanied Minnows and Iron Man and KNG are bringing up the rear.
Yeah, I'm surprised KNG's down there. Like I know that coach, and he's really good. He's only lost one game, but if you look at that, the other way to look at that, he's only lost one game, so he's not out of the running by any stretch of the imagination.
Oh, he's literally only 2 wins behind first. I mean, that's pretty close considering we're going into week 6 here.
And then Hervis Jasper bringing up the rear, number 14 there. We need to talk about Quicks 96 being on top of this division. You guys can't let him. You can't let that guy get on top. I don't want to hear it.
All right, and your pick for this division was the Horrible Cliches.
I'm playing Dark Elves in my CCL this season, so I want to check out the Dark Elf squad. You can see that he puts his name in his Discord down there, so I like that because he listens. Mighty Blow Witch Elf, come on, that's like the dream right there. He's got a strip ball blitzer who can cage dive. Cage diving with elves is if you cage dive against no tackle, it's a 55% chance because if you have dodge, so it's going to work more often than it doesn't. So you get strip ball in there, and that's fantastic. And he's got blodge, he's got kick, he's got a wrestle lineman. Actually, him doing wrestle lineman, Dark Elf lineman for the first time, and I like the get out of here. You see that guy get out of there?
Mm-hmm.
I would give him leap next, man, and then he can dive the cage without having to cage dive. It's awesome.
Yeah, I also like the wrestle before dodge in this division in particular because every other team is a chorf, and the tackle on the line for those blocks, as long as you're putting that wrestle piece on the line against those teams, obviously you're not going to want to do that against like an elf team because that wrestle's very valuable. But against a chorf team, throw them on the line and it's better than dodge.
Yeah, he actually has enough money to buy another lineman, which I probably would do in this division, because I can't imagine he finishes any games with a full field. I'd want as many linemen as I could.
Yeah, I think that
Um,
it's a reasonable TV for him to pick up a 12th player.
my problem that I always have with Dark Elves, and I can see that Monkey Man's already got that same problem, is that you don't know who to level next. Like he has a bunch of people that like, oh, that guy just needs this to get valuable, and that guy just needs this. Everybody needs just like one skill. He's got all these guys. So my plan here was I would take it's gonna blow, and I would do a vanity pass and score with to not it's not over yet, and score with him, and get those two guys out of the way. I'll get that Witch Elf tackle,
Yeah,
and you need a
absolutely
touchdown.
tackle.
And then you need touchdown on Don't Die Me. Don't you die on me, so he can get whatever he's going to get. You could even get We've Got Company and give him dodge. I mean, that my problem with Dark Elves that I always have is who do I level next? Because everybody's got something that's so important. He went with 2 block witches. I usually make 1 wrestle tackle piece for a second.
Yeah, I just don't like the
So
synergy
witches
of
and see
Wrestle and
how you do that.
Frenzy, but
Think about it though. If you're making a sacking piece, wrestle and frenzy. If you have a cage and you cancel out assists, all 4 assists, you get 2 chances to tackle that ball out with strength 3. So now you have 2 chances to get it out. I think it works great. Tackle, and then you get leap, and you just jump in there and you get that ball out, man. But anyway, so if you have 2, and in my previous lives, I've always carried 2 block witches. But like, what do you do with the second one?
I like the sidestep. I think Blodge Step is awesome, just putting on the corner of a cage if you can't get in. So your block is only a push. You just leave her on the side of the cage, and if they push her, it's their mistake.
Yeah, I mean, you're gonna get sidestep on both of them eventually, anyway. I don't know. I like I like having the versatility of not having 2 witches that do the exact same role. I like them to have different jobs. The Blodge is awesome, and he's only got he's got 5 block beaches right now, and he's got one away. Like I said, there's a ton of tackle in this division, so that's unfortunate.
He is
There's
blessed
not a
to
lot
get
of
that guard.
yeah. He needs to get that guard Blodge. And like again, it's one of those priority things. Like, when do you get him dodge? You have so many pieces that are just one guy away.
First world problems.
First world problem, and I can tell you, and people don't like to see guard on Dark Elves. I have a guard on Dark Elf. I had my Dark Elf team was in Division 1, had 4 guard, and they got hunted down mercifully till they all got killed. So and one of those guys that killed 3 of them is in your division. King, Unlucky Skull.
Oh yeah, yeah.
He hates guard on Dark Elves.
The only thing that's worse than that is guard on Wood Elves, and that doesn't last long either.
But his team's looking good, man. 1480 TV. How's he doing compared to TV the rest of the division? About middle of the pack. So yeah, I would pick up an extra lineman were I him, and then I'd get tackle on that witch.
Yeah.
And then other than that, he's got a good plan.
I agree. He's in a good spot. Let's go ahead and take a look at my pick, which is Resistance is Feudal.
Shiggy's my nemesis.
Shiggy has a great team. I'm not a big Bretonian fan. I play them in the Rebel Spin League because if I lose, I don't feel as bad about it. But they're like a puzzle with missing pieces. Nothing ever fits together perfectly, but you kind of get the idea of it. And this team here, they've got a strength up on one of their blitzers, which is awesome. Countless opportunities, and now he's Blodge. Sir Loin the Meaty has Mighty Blow, which is great, but he's the sure hands piece. So, like all Bretonian pieces, this one's a little bit of a Picasso, in that it has a little bit of everything.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that he's got the sure hands and then picked up the Mighty Blow, because countless opportunities would be awesome with sure hands, and he's only a 3 away. Like strength 4 Blodge, we talked about that. Strength 4 Blodge with sure hands, he'd be an amazing piece.
Yeah, so he's going to probably... And I would do it. I would put sure hands on him, too, even though it's not very efficient. And so basically he's got 20,000 bloat on his main killer. But I think you just have to do it.
So I've been playing... I'm playing Brett's in one of my... I have a team league called Sacre Blue that flips over. You start a new race every time, and I'm doing Brett's in that one. And I decided, so I played some CCL, and I decided this start he has, where he only has 2 blockers and a lot of peasants, is the smart way to go. I don't think the blockers are ultimately all that valuable. I think 2 are awesome, and you don't want them to be your killers like most people do because they have strength access. I like to go wrestle tackle, just like this, wrestle tackle guard. And
Yeah,
that's all you really need for those guys.
that's valuable. And I just
So
realized he
I
has
love this
another
build.
strength up too. King
Yeah.
Congress. Jesus.
I mean, he's already a sacker. He's a strength 4 wrestle tackle piece.
Yeah, that's huge. And the amount of SPP that he has on really 2 pieces is a little bit of a liability to me. All it's going to take is 1 or 2 removals or worse injuries, and now you're losing 1 or 2 games in a row because you've lost 2 your star players.
The only thing, I don't know, the thing about the Reds is you have 4 blitzers, so you lose 1, you got 3 more. I've been messing around with leader like he's got here, and I hate it because leader gets knocked out or gets removed, you're out of reroll. I would rather just pick up the reroll myself, especially since he's only running 2 blockers. He can afford to carry the reroll instead.
Yeah. Oh yeah. The leader without dodge. That piece has basically a global taunt in MMO terms, and he's going to be targeted very fast.
Yeah, he needs to get touch. If he wants to keep that leader, he needs to get touchdowns on the right fast. Unfortunately for Shiggy, he's got what 1, 2, 3, 4 MVPs on his peasants, which blows. But he loves to kick people, man, loves it. So it works for him. If he gets some levels on those guys, he's gonna have those. They'll all go dirty player, every single one of them. I guarantee you.
Yeah. Nothing better than that.
Yeah, no, but so Shiggy, I'm gonna do a quick note on Shiggy. My first REL loss ever in the history of REL was I was like 5-0 at the time. Shiggy beat me, and he beat me by he dodged out a peasant, which is a 50% dodge because they're AG2, and then did 2 GFIs, and then 1 die powed my Blodge move 9 witch and killed her, and then some, and then on the next play, my other witch came to pick up the ball, snake eyed to pick up, and then he had a blitzer come down, pick up the ball, throw it the length of the field. That guy ran down to somebody else, handed off, and won me on turn 16. I was fucking irate.
Jesus.
I think I've ever had Blood Bowl.
That sounds brutal.
That's Shiggy. I'll never forget Shiggy, man. he's a cool dude. He's some kind of like super math nerd. Like he's a contract employee, like super math nerd. He's very analytical. So if he has time to dissect the match, he usually has a really good game plan.
Nice. Very good. Well, I look forward to seeing how they shake out in the end here. And let's see. Those are our team reviews. Our highlight matches of the week.
Shiggy's match against King Cosmos.
Yes. So you've got Resistance's Feudal versus Unlucky Skull. So we're going to see the 2 fouling teams go at it.
Yeah, that's why I want to talk about it, man. This is going to be a contest to see who can foul the most. It's going to be 2 teams just kicking the shit out of each other. Anybody who hits the dirt is going to get kicked. I guarantee it.
Team value wise, Bretonians are at 1,400, and where's Unlucky Skull?
At 1240.
1240. So that's probably a bribe in the Khemri favor, but I don't think Shiggy really cares about bribes. And we just saw 4 expulsions from the Khemri team, so yeah, we could see a lot of removals. Even from by just the ref if the ref's paying attention, or go the other way and the ref doesn't see a thing.
Because if the ref is caught napping in this game, it's going to be a bloodbath. There's going to be bodies all over the place. And in that particular instance, I kind of got to give the advantage to Unlucky Skull because they got regen.
Yeah, regen's good when it works. But the decay on those Tomb Guardians, it's going to be playing a little bit of fire because there's Dauntless and there's Strength 4 pieces. So Dauntless Strength 4 Blitzer is going to have no trouble taking down a Guardian. And I would be very nervous to see my Tomb Guardians getting gank fouled.
It's going to happen. This game is going to be... I mean, if you're going to cast a game this week, this is the one you got to cast because there's going to be fouls all over the place.
It does sound very enticing. I like it. Who do you like in the win this one?
I mean, the regen I think is going to make a huge difference. But like I said, the Dauntless, like you said, the Dauntless, which is something I thought about too. The Dauntless is going to be great. Man, I'm gonna go with King. I'm gonna go with King of Cosmos. I think the regen's gonna make a difference. The regen and the thick skull actually is gonna make a difference. Believe it or not, the thick skull is gonna keep some guys on the pitch longer than they should be, and then the regen will get the guys back. And then yeah, I'm gonna go with King of Cosmos just because they're gonna stick around a little better.
All right, all right. We'll see how the region works. I am happy to take Resistance as feudal. I feel like the ball handling is still the most important part of this matchup, and the Kimry can still remove, 8 of these pieces, and the final 3 knights are just going to outrun and outhandle the ball and win the game.
So you're gonna be wrong. You're gonna be wrong. They're not even gonna know there's gonna be a ball in this game. It's just gonna be who gets kicked first.
Somebody's got to pick it up and score.
Eventually, yeah.
And then my match is going to be Ace Trucking versus Lizard Beast. Again, I'm picking the top 1 and 2 seeded teams on the leaderboard playing against each other, which is awesome for week 6 to have this, to really kind of see who the winner, or at least the early leader, is going to be for this. Lizard Beasts are coming in with a TV advantage like they've had all season, because they're up against a fresh team and they're on their 2nd season. But the Ace Trucking Company has a lot of the things that they need in order to take on this Lizard team.
That's funny because you just like a turn ago said that dwarves are amazing against lizards, and then you took the lizards.
Yeah, naturally. You gotta balance both sides of the coin, man. This dwarf team, by the way, though, doesn't have the guard that the other dwarf team has.
Okay, but they got bull centaurs. they got bull centaurs. Those things are amazing.
Yeah, but they're not that developed yet. They only have block, and I think they're basically a Saurus. So there's 2 Saurus right there that are counted out. Until he gets break tackle, they're just Saurus.
So he's going to get what? How much? He's going to get 280 in inducements. So that's a wizard. What else does he want? A bribe, probably?
Yeah. He's got a dirty player, so bribe is valuable.
Wizard and a bribe. But man, Kiwi Bird's team is so gross, man. He's got all that block. He's got an AG4 skink. He's got a move 9 skink. Like, this team is sick.
Yeah. And the claw on the claw, or the Chaos Dwarf on its own, doesn't have Mighty Blow, so it's, at best going to be adding the stuns, in my opinion.
Yeah, claw without Mighty Blow isn't really all that valuable. You really got to get the Mighty Blow first. Although, in this particular instance, the math is a little better in favor of the claw over Mighty Blow against the AV9. But the claw doesn't do any good against the skinks. It's just a wasted skill.
Well, and he's got to gang up on the Saurus to even get a 2-dice hit anyway, because these Saurus have blocks, so you're not going to really want to throw 1-dice at them. And, there's 6 Saurus and 6 Chaos Dwarves. I don't know. I think that Agi 4 skink is going to be a nice, tasty target now that it's niggled, but you got to be able to get to it first.
So you're taking the lizards, aren't you?
I am.
Feel it. Well, I'm gonna tell you what. I'm taking Ace Trucking Company. They are gonna get a wizard and a bribe. And usually dwarf teams, I don't like getting wizards, but on chaos dwarf teams, because they got bull centaurs, I like the wizard. I think it's gonna make a huge difference. And yeah, if one of those kings hits the ground, he's gonna get fouled by Ned. Ned's gonna be the player of the game right there. And plus, his ballet animation is cool.
Yes.
He kind of looks around and then gets the kite kick in the chest. I think it's awesome. So Quicks, I'm going for you this time, man. But if you win, I don't want to hear about it.
All right, I love it. We'll see how this shakes out. Any other thoughts for Division 4?
I don't. So next week, we're just going to cover one division is not going to get recapped next week because we're just going to do an in-depth one on the other one. We're doing 4 or 5 next week.
I think we should do 5 first and then 4 the week after.
Okay, so if you are in Division 4, you will not get a recap next week, but you will get a full hour the week following. And then the opposite is true for Division 5.
And I might put together something just brief for you guys, just so you're not totally neglected, and vice versa the week after. But it'll be like short. So
Well, you have more time than I do, sir.
I know. Until some of these other leagues get going, you know. I've definitely got.
Man,
Well,
I'm in so many leagues right now. I think I'm in like 7 or 8.
oh Jesus, yeah, you got me beat. I got this. I got Champs Ladder, and I
I
got Miners.
I don't even count Champ Ladder. I just play that from time to time. I just picked up that Nats league that you and I are in.
Yeah.
For you guys listening at home, we myself and Superfed ended up in the same division in the Nats league. So big rivalry brewing. Big rivalry. He's playing, of course, the easy mode dwarfs, and I'm playing an actual team that takes skill. I'm playing rats.
Skill or dice, either way, whatever you want to call it.
That's all I got, man. Thanks for listening, everybody.
All right, and stay tuned after this portion here. I'm going to do a quick highlight reel from one of the matches that we talked about in between Division 5. God, I'm blanking on the name here. Peek back at it. It was the Pandemonium Burgers versus... the Necromantic Newbies versus the Pandemonium Burgers. Necromantic Newbies got their first win, and it was quite the interesting match, so check that out. Anyway, thank you everyone for watching, and we'll see you next week.
See ya.
Thank you everyone for hanging around a little bit after our recap video. This one's going to go just a little bit long, but I wanted to showcase the matchup between the Necromantic Newbies and the Pandemonium Burgers. Both these teams have only one win against a live opponent, and both of them actually beat the Nurgle FTDs. The Pandemonium Burgers have a bye win. The Necromantic Newbies were looking for their second win coming into this week, and they just really haven't seen a lot of development, as we touched on last week's episode. The Pandemonium Burgers also are a team that needs some development, and we'll probably catch up with them next week. But this match, as we talked about, was going to be fairly close since Chaos just don't have all the skills yet, and the Necromantic team needs a little bit of boost themselves. So for the first half of this match, the Chaos did receive 2 knockouts, and they used their rollovers or rerolls pretty early in the match. But you see here, they make a 4+ dodge to blitz the ball carrier, pick up the ball, and then they mark themselves against a couple tackle pieces, but they are themselves marked, so it's not just a straight block there. And you get an injury, so now the Chaos has got to be feeling pretty good about their chances at this point. It was the Werewolf's reception, and so if the Chaos are able to hold them here, even not necessarily scoring themselves, but just stopping the Necro team from scoring, they'd be in a great position to go into the second half. The Necro team are quickly able to respond to the turnover, and all they needed was just that push to get the zombie to mark, to then get a 2-die on the ball. And that 2-die block results in an injury. This is the first injury for the Chaos team, but they do have 2 knocked out players on the sidelines, so their numbers are starting to weigh in the Necromantic team's favor. Reroll used to pick up the ball, and they're in a pretty safe position here. The Chaos respond with a blitz after a dodge, and they do get the POW. However, they had to use 2 GFIs to get there, so they're not able to pick up the ball. The Necro team on their turn 8, do or die with no rerolls on the line. They save their wizard that they could have used for a lightning bolt there. But because it's easy enough for them to make a 2-die block, it makes sense to save the wizard. It's usually better on defense. Werewolf easily removes the threat to the ball, and the second Werewolf comes in for the pickup and the touchdown. I did skip turn 8 for the Chaos. They unfortunately rolled a both down and knocked themselves out on another of the Beastmen, so 3 knockouts for the Beastmen going into the second half. That's when the dice start to turn for sure. A blitz for the Necro team, and we're going to go the entire way through the second half here, but I'm going to fast forward through a lot of the Necro turns For the most part, unless there's something dramatic that happens. You can see on the sideline there's 3 knocked out Chaos Beastmen and 1 injured Beastman that we saw at the end. The Blitz doesn't do too much because of the knockback, but there are a lot of marked players for the Chaos to hit. And they make the first block and then decide that, okay, now it's safe for us to move up the ball. And they move the ball directly into the middle of that mess. The Beastman here blitzes the Werewolf. And gets a knockout. So that's a great block right there. However, trying to reposition that to get a little bit better of a cage around your ball does not work out for the Chaos team. A costly reroll there that doesn't actually even work out. To me, there's nothing worse than using your reroll and seeing it fail the second time. You can see the Necro team now, because of that GFI, is able to get a ton of blocks onto the Chaos team and leave very few pieces standing, and gets a 1-die blitz onto the ball, which does knock the defender down. Chaos's turn, chance to respond, and a reroll instantly used. Before standing anyone else up, a blitz with a non-block piece, double skull. And with that, 2 very, very quick removals, or 2 very quick turns for the Chaos team. Necro's able to secure the ball and get a loose little cage around there. Chaos really doesn't have any good moves to respond to the ball. They do try to blitz off the Golem. The Flesh Golem stands firm, however, as they did the entire game. I don't believe they were even knocked down once. A reroll is again used for a block on a 1-die. Just a push there. And another knockout. So Chaos are slowly inching themselves back into the numbers position, but at this point the Blitz has already done its job, and the Necro team's able to score again. If you're the Chaos coach, you got to be asking yourself, what's the worst that could happen here? Well, I could get none of my pieces back that are knocked out. He could get all his. Thankfully, you get 2 of your 3 back. Unfortunately, he gets both 2 of his. What's the worst that could happen, you ask? Let's see. Oh, that. Yes, that is a second blitz. Back-to-back blitzes for the Necro team. Not that they needed it either, as they were already up 0-2. This time the Chaos is a little less marked than they were the first time. And they're able to make a couple blocks here before going for the pickup. They go ahead and mark the Werewolf and go for a 2-die blitz with the Mighty Blow into a double skull. Into dead. Luckily the Apo was still available, and the Mighty Blow piece is just missing for next game. And we're all at rerolls. The Necro team still has the Wizard, anxiously waiting on the sidelines for an opportunity. 1-die blocks are generously working out for the Necro team. And Chaos again gets a chance to recover the ball. They succeed at the pickup. And now desperation takes over. We're going to make a pass. The pass succeeds. It's caught. One man to beat. The Chaos Warrior blitzes down the field into a GFI and fails. Necro team still with rerolls, able to pick up the ball, head towards the sideline. Picks up a blocker or two. And a push. Able to mark the rest. Chaos is now forced to dodge if they want to make any kind of play on the ball here. And they just try and push a werewolf. Threaten a surf. Force the Necro team to respond to them. Since they're not able to apply direct pressure to the ball. There is another dub skull, but this time for the Necro team. So they too are not immune to bad dice. Gets a knockout. And they do the blitz action here to get away from the surf. However, they too are failing some rolls. And gets a turnover. And this gives just a sliver of an opportunity to the Chaos team to get a 2-die onto the ball carrier. Which results in a POW. And of course he's going to try to pick that up, but does not succeed. This might be the fastest half of Blood Bowl I've ever seen. Necro picks up the ball again and secures it, marking the players that they can. Of course, there is still a 3+ dodge on turn 16 to stop the third score, and it does not succeed. And that, my friends, is the tale of the 3-0 victory for the Necromantic Newbies, who did desperately need the SVP, which they got plenty in this match. Both the werewolves putting in work. But at the same time, my heart definitely goes out to the coach of the Pandemonium Burgers. They, in my opinion, did not play poorly. They actually coached very well, and I look forward to seeing their growth in the future. But this is just one of those games where you got really bad dice. And there's not really a lot you can do about it. Watching this game, trying to look for coachable moments and opportunities. Sure, we took some 1-die blocks, but the reality is when you're a Chaos coach and you're down 3 players against another somewhat bashy team, you're going to have to throw 1-die blocks. And those 1-die blocks are not always going to go out the way that you want them to. What I will say is that this coach had the guts to make the right play. Guts just doesn't guarantee glory in Blood Bowl. And, repeatedly, it was the almost first or second action that was failing for this coach too. So there's, this would be an example of a play where you could have stood up a couple pieces before you made the blitz. It wouldn't have changed the results at all. The dice were going to be the same no matter what, but it at least would have given you a little bit less, wouldn't have, put you in as bad of a spot, but at the same time, your opponent got 2 blitzes, and really, even on your own blitzes, you're getting injuries inflicted upon yourself. So don't take this one too seriously. If you find yourself in this kind of a situation, what I try and do is, play a different team, or, always take a break from the game for a day or two to just kind of let your thoughts gather, and know that ultimately these games are always a possibility. It's an RNG based game, so it's entirely possible that every single thing that you do could fail. And it could be a very short match, as we just saw here. Thankfully, very rarely does that happen. And it can always happen to your opponent, which, for the Necromantic Newbies, was exactly what they needed. So that's going to wrap it up for me. Thank you so much for watching. You guys have a great night.